What drives the international trade? The economists are of different opinion in the matter. What determines the international trade? According to David Ricardo, it is comparative advantage that determines the international trade. According to Haberler, it is differences in opportunity cost. According to Heckscher and O'Hullin, it is factor endowment. According to the intra-industry trade model, it is product differentiation and economies of scale. So let's look how does the technological change drive the international trade. So how does the dynamic technological changes affect the international trade or the trade between two nations? Let's look. So today we are going to discuss about the technological gap model and product cycle model of international trade. It is clear that inter-industry trade is driven by comparative advantage. At the same time, intra-industry trade is driven by product differentiation. For example, for the trade of two commodities belonging to two different industries, this is inter-industry trade that is driven by comparative advantage. And for the inter-industry trade or the import and export of the same commodity between two identical nations, so then the trade between these two identical nations are driven by product differentiation and economies of scale. So here when does technological change drive international trade? So as I said, we have technological gap model and product cycle model of international trade. Technological gap model was put forward by Richard Posner, an American economist, in 1961. So this is a trade model, depends on the technological differences in two nations. That means the trade between two nations is driven by technological differences between the two nations, that or technological development in one nation. The advanced technological gap between two nations drives the international trade between these two nations. Usually advanced economies or developed economies introduce some changes in its technical field. They may introduce some new production process, they may introduce some novel products, they may introduce some innovation. So innovation led trade is technological gap model. So according to the technological gap model, international trade is driven by innovation. This is the Posner's model, 1961. So innovation maybe leads to the introduction of new products or novel products, or the introduction of production process. So these two will come under the purview of innovation. That may be new products or a new production process. So what does innovation bring in a nation? So innovation will be brought by technological change. When a nation experiences some technical development, technological improvement, then the nation will introduce some innovation. Innovation in fact brings a temporary monopoly to the innovating firm and innovating nation. For example, if the United States is the innovating nation or introduced new technique of production or introduced a new commodity, this is the technological advancement of the United States. So that innovation will bring temporary monopoly to the firm and the United States. So this monopoly could be materialized through patent and copyright. So patent and copyright will be given to the original producers or those who behind the innovation. So that could lead to monopoly, a temporary monopoly. Is this monopoly sustainable? Certainly not. This is not a sustainable way of trade. because the innovating nations cannot always trade their innovative commodity or innovative production process, because the importing nations will learn the technology. They will start how to produce that commodity, then they will start producing that commodity domestically. So instead of importing the commodity from the innovating country, the importing country will imitate the technology. They will start producing the commodity. They will stop buying the commodity from the innovating country. So then the comparative advantage will shift from innovating country to the importing or imitating country. So then imitating country will start produce and they will start export that commodity to the innovating country. So this is the shift in comparative advantage driven by the technological changes. So initially the trade is driven by innovation. So innovating company and innovating country will start producing the innovative commodity, and they will start exporting that commodity to the another nation. So there are two nations, innovating country and imitating country. For example, if the United States is an innovating country where the new production process was found, that is the innovation in the United States. So the United States start producing commodity to India. So India is the importing country and United States is the innovating country. So as the time passes through, Indian producers start learning the technology introduced by the United States. So India learned the technology. India starts to imitate the innovation of the United States. India starts to produce that commodity. India dominate that commodity. India has got the advantage of cheap labor. So India became able to produce that commodity better than the United States. So India got the comparative advantage from the United States. So this is the shift in comparative advantage from the United States to India. So trade is driven by both innovation and imitation according to the technological gap model of Richard Posner, who introduced this concept, this trade model in 1961.